Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Today on the program, solving Metro Manila traffic through emergency powers. Lawmakers weigh in.
Lahat naman po ng mga nakikita natin na maaaring masolusyonan, gaya nga na sinabi nyo, naumpisahan na ninyo. Hindi lang nga po nakamit ang mga dapat makamit.
Wala ho kami sinasabing wala kami nagawa kasi walang emergency power. Ang sinasabi ko, kung maaari kong sabihin, mas marami ho sana kami nagawa kung meron hong emergency power.
The President says he doesn't want it anymore.
Sabi ko, wag na. Hindi ko na yan matatapos.
But Malacañang says the President can still change his mind.
Hindi natin alam kung anong gagawin niya. Noong ko pa kasi hinihingi sa inyo yan, ayaw niyo ibigay sa akin kung anong pinagdududahan niyo, kundi bahala na kayo.
Also, a lawmaker proposing an EDSA traffic master plan.
We have to move forward. Mass transportation po is a must.
Is this the key in decongesting gridlocks on EDSA? House Committee Chair on Transportation and Samar Representative Edgar Sarmiento joins us live. Thank you for joining us. Sitting in for Pinky Web, I'm Ina Andolong. Presidential spokesman Sal Panelo clarifies the President is not abandoning the traffic problem in EDSA, following President Rodrigo Duterte's statement that he no longer wants emergency powers to solve the Metro Manila traffic problem. The Senate Committee on Public Affairs, headed by Senator Grace Poe, on the other hand, believes granting additional powers for the President is not the solution. Poe suggests a traffic czar who could implement a master plan aside from Transportation Secretary Arthur Tugade should be tapped. But Malacañang challenges the lady senator give a name. Let's go straight to the source of the story. House Transportation Committee Chairman and Samar 1st District Representative Edgar Sarmiento. Hi, sir, and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Ina, for inviting me. Good morning. Magandang umaga po sa atin lahat.
Let's start, sir, with the proposals to grant emergency powers to the President. You've done a number of consultations about solving traffic in Metro Manila, and you were at the House hearing on addressing traffic. How urgent do you think is it for the President to have emergency powers?
I was at the Senate. Before I do answer the question, Ina, allow me to lay out the dynamics. Our road link was built in 1945. We have 10 radial roads, that's R1 to 10. It's counterclockwise. R1, of course, in the southernmost part of Manila. R10 is the northernmost part of Manila. Then we have 6 circumferential roads. Of the 6, it's called C1 up to C6. C4, that's where EDSA is. There are 54 highways all throughout the country. Now, after the war, definitely Manila was devastated. The only option at the time was, rather than pursuing a highway, a railway, we opted to highway development. That was totally wrong. Now, moving forward, what was lacking before and now is the mass public transportation system. What is the relevance? Government structure right now, MMDA, that's handled, it's the agency tasked to handle traffic, and the Department of Transportation has to come with the master plan relevant to the mass transportation system. What is the relevance? The relevance right now, if you have a mass transportation system, you will encourage the public to ride, of course, the mass transportation system, rather than the option right now is on the mindset of a Filipino.
You have to have
the
a
only
car.
way for you to move is you have to have a car,
Right.
and that is totally wrong. In other parts of the world, what was developed definitely is the efficiency of the mass public transportation system. We're coming in too late, but it's not too late. The reason why, as the concurrent chairman of the Committee on Transportation, I'm trying to do something about it in close coordination with the executives, headed, of course, by Secretary Arthur Tugade, Chairman Danny Lim of MNDA.
Kailangan ba, sir, because you talked about investments in mass transport, emergency powers to speed up having those projects?
Before I do answer that, Ina, allow me. To resolve the problem, we need an immediate solution. So you have to come up with the short term, mid-term, and the long term. Anything about infrastructure, railways, is going to be a long-term solution. The shortest term is we have to use a different whatever we have right now. We just have to modify it. And the reason why me and SecArt came up with a very good concept, and I think it's very doable, to encourage again people to take the mass public transportation system, because before we can dictate on the private vehicle owner.
But a lot of people are complaining, sir. You know, as much as they want to take public transport, the system is just not very encouraging. Kumbaga.
That's the reason why. Because the only way for us to have that efficiency is first we have to come up with a good system. Now, take EDSA as a specific example, because that is where the volume of the traffic is. That is where the commercial viability and activities are in Manila. We have right now what we call the mass transportation system, which is the MRT3. On MRT3, it was opened year 2000, I think, and it has an original design of 60 kilometers an hour. It's down to 20 kilometers an hour right now. There are 21 trains and 3 coaches configuration. It reached a point that there were only 7 trains moving. Now, the headway, I think it's up to 1 train in every 10 minutes. However, in Japan, where railway is very...
Before we get into specifics, dun lang muna tayo sa issue ng emergency powers.
Okay.
Do you think it's needed or not?
Well, right now, if and when the judicial processes mandated by law, still nothing will move this traffic of ours forward, I think we really need the emergency power. But to grant that emergency power, it has to go through strict deliberation in both houses, and there should be specific where that emergency power should be utilized. There should be a specific menu, and that menu really should have an implication.
The menu of projects?
This is the project, the things to do by the executives now. Because once you say emergency power, infrastructure, on how to do a consolidation of the different franchises, opening up subdivision, these are part of the emergency power, but it has to be a well-studied...
Well, the President, sir, has been asking for this since early on in his term. Are you saying na hanggang ngayon they've not presented you with specifics on how they do intend to carry out or why they need emergency powers?
It's like this, Ina. They do have the plan, but the execution sometimes lack the coordination. That's why right now there's a strong, even though that's not part of my job, but however, as a concurrent chairman in the Committee on Transportation itself, I have to do everything as well to extend my arm to the executives, and that's what Secretary Art and me are doing. He has the plan, and what asked before was the emergency, rather than using the emergency word, we crafted a law which we call the Traffic Crisis Act, which is passed to third reading. This was February of 2019. It came in too late because it took almost 2 years of deliberation. That's the problem. Okay.
Before we talk about your proposed Traffic Crisis Act, let's play a soundbite of President Duterte talking about or explaining why he's no longer interested in having emergency powers.
Ngayong EDSA na yan, sabi nila ganon. Sabi ko, nung narinig ko, sabi ko, wag na. So ngayon gusto nila i-revive. Ilang buwan na lang, 2 years and so many months. Hindi ko na yan matatapos. Pagkatapos niyan, sabihin pa ng mga tao, nag-iwan ng project ito si Duterte, hindi tapos, kinurakot siguro yung pera.
Okay, you did mention, sir, na baka kailangan pa rin ng emergency powers, although the process basically could be a bit tedious. Is there a more practical solution maybe that you're you think could work better?
Well, we go back to the basic. We just have to provide the people with the efficiency of a mass public transportation system. Once they realize that there is an efficiency, now we can now encourage private vehicle owners to take the public service rather than bringing your own car. You know, it's like this, Ina. How can you introduce the different infrastructures that we have in EDSA and other major thoroughfares that we have if you will not bring down the volume of traffic that we have right now? The reason why we have to introduce the mass public transportation system, because we want people to encourage to take that so that construction activities can now take off in the different parts of Metro Manila.
Let's just go, let's say, to the MRT3. How then do you encourage people to, take MRT, considering what we see every day? It's packed every day, the long lines. It's really not very encouraging for many people.
No, we want to, the term commonly used is headway. That is the distance from one train to another train. In Japan, the headway is around 1 minute and 20 seconds, meaning to say there's a train that comes in every minute and 20 seconds. That will definitely decongest the queue that we have. Unlike in our case,
But
sometimes...
is it happening now, sir? E
No,
puro breakdown,
okay.
hindi po ba?
Ganitong problema. Yung train natin kasi hindi na natin sasabihin, tatagal eh. Sabihin na natin solusyon. Because what I want to talk really, Ina, is the solution. Problema, alam na natin na talagang problema. But what solution should we do? On MRT3, to be specific, we now have the Dalian trains. What was the difference? Dalian trains, it arrived, there are 43 coaches of 3 configurations. That's around 12 brand new units of train. Now, we cannot utilize the Dalian train because it was never tested in China. The wish list is before trains will be accepted, you have to be compliant with the number of hours for the train to be tested. Andyan na po yan. Gagamitin na lang. Pinag-uusapan na natin yan. Ipapasok na po sa sistema si Dalian. Now, if you can only bring it down from a high of 10 minutes headway, babaan natin siguro, wish list na 2 minuto may train. Maganda na po yan. No?
Sir, well, officials have been saying ang daming times, for a long time now, that yes, mas bibilis ngayon yung MRT, less breakdowns, but it's not something that is happening consistently. Sometimes they do improve, nababawasan yung problems, but you talk about solutions, but people just really don't see it yet.
Mechanical kasi ito, Ina, sira na. Marami nang parang surgical na tayo ngayon eh. Ang talagang magandang proseso, in every X number of years, brand new dapat ito. Kasi look at the people riding MRT3. Wari ko naman, naniniwala ako na andyan na, gagamitin na nila. And I'm hoping that maybe in the next months, andyan na, few months, gagamitin na talaga itong MRT3. And finally, we can really start, people believing na talagang magandang sistema ng MRT3. Ano idadagdag natin dito sa concept natin? If you look at MRT3, this is at the middle of EDSA. Now, what we're planning, of course, the combined effort of Department of Transportation, from the executive branch, andyan si MMDA, andito naman ang legislation, gagawa po tayo ng dedicated lane.
Right.
This is the first...
I think this is your proposal.
This is the proposal. This is the concept
ease,
now.
Or to at least immediately help
tingnan mo ang
decongest
relevance
traffic in
sa
Metro
Ina.
Manila. We'll take a short break first, sir,
Thank you.
and then we'll talk about your proposal. After, we'll be, again, taking a short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, House Transportation Committee Chairman Edgar Sarmiento. Still on emergency powers, sir. It was a hot topic during the Senate hearing about solving Metro Manila's traffic. Let's play first the heated exchange between Senator Grace Poe and Transportation Secretary Arthur Tugade.
Hindi ko pwede pong palusutin to na palusot eh. May right of way na kapangyarihan ng gobyerno. Pangalawa, merong alternative modes of procurement. At pangatlo, lahat naman po ng mga nakikita natin na maaaring masolusyonan, gaya nga na sinabi nyo, na umpisahan na ninyo, hindi lang nga po nakamit ang mga dapat makamit.
Wala ho kami sinasabing wala kami nagawa kasi walang emergency power. Ang sinasabi ko, kung maaari kong sabihin, mas marami ho sana kami nagawa kung meron hong
O
emergency
sige,
power.
ganito na lang.
Okay. Sir, Malacañang was saying, iilan lang naman daw talaga yung lawmakers who are against granting the president emergency powers. Sabi nga, parang isa lang daw eh. But really, ano ba ang mood among lawmakers? Is granting emergency powers to the president still, is it going to happen anytime soon?
Ina, to answer your question, amongst the lawmakers, gusto na din na talaga. To tell you frankly, Kaya it has to go through a process.
Okay.
pag ididebate po ito, hindi naman sabihin andyan. It has to go through a process when the process of legislation, they are done for, because it's Congress that will give this emergency power to the President.
Okay, if maraming lawmakers, sir, ang may gusto, then why aren't we seeing more aggressive action towards doing that?
The reason why, again, in close coordination with the executive, ano ba talaga saan gagamitin?
Okay.
That's the ultimate question right now of Senator Poe. Saan yung gagamitin ito? Ang sinasabi ba ni Secretary Art, at isa pa pala, sa Secretary Art, kung
Do you think he's doing a good job,
For me, he is.
Secretary Tugade?
He's doing a good job in fairness to Secretary Art. Ang hindi lang nakikilala kasi malakas siya magsalita eh.
Misconstrued, kumbaga, sometimes as
Misconstrued talaga. But if you look at the heart of the guy, kung makakausap mo lang siya, I don't know Secretary Art. I only met him during committee hearings.
What makes you say that he's doing a good job? Because Senator Poe is saying perhaps somebody daw po should take his place.
Well, look at his accomplishment on the things he's handled, on the deliverables, tinatamaan niya naman. Except, of course, paminsan kasi pag sinasabi mo traffic, this belongs really to Metro Manila Development Authority. How can you solve a traffic means there are just so many cars? How can we dictate on the private cars owners to bring it down? The only concept you have right now is once you want to move in Manila, you drive your own car. Why? Wala nga tayong mass public transportation system. What is the relevance? If you have a mass public transportation system, we bring down the number, you have the option to either avail of a very efficient mass public transportation, leave your cars at home. That is where we're going to really, Ina.
Sir, you talked about the MMDA. Sabi mo, no, it's also the job of the MMDA. Is it doing enough to manage traffic in Metro Manila, or do we need a traffic czar? Because that's something that's also been proposed.
Even if you put all the generals there, unless otherwise you have a good system right now, you cannot do anything about traffic. Again, we have a good road links. There are just too many cars.
Right.
Because right now, people in Manila's option is really, once you move, you buy your own car. But our answer right now, we're giving an option. Sasabihin nila, kung tayuan natin ito ganito, you're a public servant, tayuan natin ganito. You can only build infrastructures once you have a space to build it. Ngayon, how can you build infrastructure? Moment you build it, traffic's gonna get worse.
Right. You talked about having so many cars on EDSA, sir, and you do have a proposal. We'll put up the graphics of your proposal to ease or help decongest traffic in Metro Manila. Can you tell us more about this, sir?
Well, the relevance muna, Ina, no? If you have a very efficient public transportation system, you're gonna encourage people to avail of this.
You're saying this will only be effective if we have an effective, efficient mass transport system, which, you know, not many would say we do have right now.
Tama
so, kailan to magagamit, sir?
Ito, the soonest time. Kasi andyan po infrastructure, wala po tayong gagawin na iba.
Okay, can you tell us, sir, what we're seeing here?
No,
So 3 lanes for private cars.
We start from the centermost lane. This is the blue collar. That is where MRT station is right now. No? Doon pumapasok ang mga tao, sanay na sanay ang tao, problema dyan, train lang dumadaan. Now, ang plano po natin, we're gonna put an express bus lane. Ayan po ang lane 1.
Express bus lane.
Pinakamalapit po sa blue collar. Now, iikot lang po yan dito sa EDSA, to be specific, parang carousel. Hindi siya lalabas, maliban kung paparada. Ngayon, dito naman sa lanes 3, 2, 3, and 4, that lane is dedicated to private vehicles. Ang lane 5 naman, that is the city bus lane. Anong kakaiba? Si express bus, itong sa lane 1, that will augment capacity ng train. The passengers right now, the commuting public, may option ka na ngayon, Ina, to either take the train or sasakay ka sa bus.
Okay.
Bababa ka lang eh, andyan na sa bus. Anong kakaiba? Babarahin po natin ng concrete
So
barrier
you have
yan.
2 lanes occupied by buses. That's what you're
Yes,
part
lanes,
of your proposal.
yes. That's the innermost
Is that a
lane.
good idea, sir? Hindi ba baka mas maipit?
No, we have this in Bogota. This is what they're doing.
Okay.
Hindi lang ata na flash dyan. If you can show you the the picture of what is happening in Bogota, it is a dedicated lane exclusively for buses. Tatakbong bus dyan. Sabihin natin si 24 kilometers, if a bus travels around 40 kilometers an hour, less than an hour, from Monumento all the way to Pasay, andong ka na.
Okay. Sir, will this plan work with an inefficient MRT in the center of it all?
Kasi ang MRT sa taas naman ito, sa ibaba ka. The inefficient, kaya ino-augment nga natin while wala pa nga yung train utilizing the bus. Yun ang ginagawa natin. Dito naman sa Lane 5, sa city bus, that will stop in every kilometer.
Okay.
Pagbaba, dito ka sasakay sa sidewalk, pagbaba mo sidewalk ka pa rin, may option ka. Itong si express bus, it will only stop in 5 or 6 or 7 stops. Tuloy-tuloy po yan Ina. No?
Okay.
While the city bus, that will stop in every kilometer. Ang private vehicles naman, nasa gitna ito. Ngayon, mapapansin siguro na pag ikaw ay nagdadrive, mas mabilis ata si bus. Sasakay na ako ng bus. That is the entire concept.
Okay, how optimistic are you, sir, that this could be done? Is this something you formally proposed perhaps to the MMDA or DOTR? Anong status ng proposal?
Pinag-usapan po namin ito.
Right.
August, I was, my name was called in plenary. It was announced in plenary that I will be the chairman of the Committee on Transportation. And right away, I acted in it.
Are they going to actually implement it anytime soon? What did they tell you?
Yes, they are. That's on our meetings. Itong sinasabi. Because on that, right on that day, ang pinag-usapan po namin na new speaker si Alan Peter Cayetano, sinasabi niya, we have to do something about the traffic and the mass public transportation. Dalawa po ito, no? Huwag natin ipaghalo. Pero may relevance po ito.
Okay.
Without the mass public transportation, hindi mawawala siya. Sabay ito.
Right.
Sabay
Okay.
ito.
For this proposal, sir, what timeline are you looking at? Kasi sinabihan ka that they will be trying this
Now,
out. When?
I said it should take us 1 year to plan, but we want to cut it down. Once we are done with the blueprint and how to do about it, we will simulate this in computer. Dito sa amin, they have one of the best simulation system. We have to make sure that from theory, simulation, talagang
So, are we
functional.
looking at early next year, perhaps?
Yes,
Ano ba?
ang kakaiba nito, ganito. Right now, the bus, 4 na bus mag-aagawan ng pasahero yan. Maraming ruta dumadaan sa EDSA. On our plan, if you are coming from EDSA, you want to go to Fairview, sabihin natin, to Commonwealth to Fairview, there's another route rationalized system dyan, umiikot rin, no? If you want to go to that place, bababa ka lang sa isang bus stop, lilipat ka ng bus.
Okay.
So the bus will work like a train. That will encourage people to tend to take that because it's a very systematic, orderly system.
Okay.
Yun ang gagawin natin.
Going back to my question, sir, so how soon? Is there a month that you're looking at? Kailan maasahan po na susubukan
We're hoping
yan?
that next week we're going to have a meeting. I won't say the name or part of it, but it's a combined effort of government, from legislation to the executives, so that once we have a concrete plan, maybe we can present this again to the President, baka naman mabagong isip niya, because we really need the help of the President.
Okay, we'll take another short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, House Transportation Committee Chairman Edgar Sarmiento, talking about your proposal that will, you say, help decongest traffic in EDSA. Sir, it involves a lot of adjustments doon sa pag-operate ng bus. Will this lead to fewer buses? What will happen? Ano ba? Or are we maintaining the number
there are
of buses
4,000
we have?
buses right now in the road. What we're planning is to consolidate the different franchise buses. Walang babagin, napakadali, walang gastong gobyerno rito. Ang kita ng bus masyadong maliit na. Once we consolidate them, mas malaking kita nila.
When you say consolidate, what does that mean? You know, for the bus operators tuned in right now, anong mangyayari?
Itong mangyayari po sa inyo, the different franchises, i-consolidate, isa-isa niya, pero bibigyan natin na sa kanya-kanya yung ruta yan, para kikita po silang lahat. No? That is the plan. Hindi tayo pwede magdagdag ng ibang bus kasi ang dami na po nila ngayon. Once we consolidate then that's the time we already execute the plan.
Okay. Will this plan, sir, help prevent, what we see often in EDSA, yung mga buses naguunahan para sa pasahero? Because
This is
one
what
observation is that yung mga bus, ang dami-dami nila, and yet hindi naman sila talaga napupuno, kaya sila naghahabunan.
You call
sa
that route rationalization. Kung din tama lang bus, kikita po silang lahat, ang driver po may sahod na. Kasi ngayon...
Disahod na, sir. Hindi na sila boundary or
hindi
what?
na boundary. Yun kasi, kung titingnan mo bus ngayon, nag-aagawan ito sa EDSA, nag-aagawan ng pasahero. Magsasabay-sabay ang 4 na bus. Kahit ibigay mo pa lahat ng lane sa kanila, pag walang sistema, ganun pa rin yan.
Okay. So this proposal will include suggesting na swelduhan ang mga bus driver?
Lahat na po kinukonsider natin rito. Alam niyo po, pinag-usapan ito, ulitin natin, solusyon po ang hinahanap natin ngayon. Alam natin ang problema. The solution muna, isabihin natin, ibigay muna natin sa tama ang tinatawag na mass public transportation system, centralized, synchronized dispatching, ang bayad, top card, sistemado, sasaya naman siguro ang tao naman, makikilala naman siguro ang EDSA na may sistema.
Okay. You talked about tap card. That's one of your proposals
Yes.
also. You have a bill seeking to have beep cards on
Yes.
buses. Anong status nito, sir? And how?
Pinapasam kasi ang priority natin ngayon is really the budget. We have to pass it. No?
Okay.
But again, ito'y hindi po natin kinuha sa hangin at pinag-aralan po natin ito. I was sent...
How will people avail of these beep cards? Saan nila kukunin to? Dun sa proposal ninyo, sir?
Sa sistema, the convenient time, pwede mo kunin sa mga 7-Eleven, as long as there's a system. In fact, sinasabi, even the national ID system, dapat gamitin natin ito.
Okay.
We have to come up with innovation, not really government to spend a lot of money.
Briefly, sir, carpooling. Is that something you're pushing for? Is it something that we can incentivize through a law?
Not necessarily kahit executive order, pwede na. Carpooling, madali na lang, pinag-usapan namin din in fairness ni GM Jojo Garcia. Dati yung question may tin. Babang mo lang kaunting bintana, makikita na. Carpool na tayo. Nothing different.
Executive na lang, you're
Executive na lang. Pinakamadali, wag na natin kasi pag nasa ibatas na ko, ang tagal po.
Okay. Thank you. Unfortunately, sir, we've run out of time. Thank you, House Transportation Committee Chairman and Samar 1st District Representative Edgar Sarmiento. Thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Ina Andolong. You're watching CNN Philippines.
Thanks.